Hi all, hope you've had a good week. For the next few weeks we're looking at the letters to Timothy. Paul wrote 2 letters to Timothy, and in the first letter he wrote and asked him to go into Ephesus to teach the people there. They had some funny ideas about Christianity. They were arguing about silly things like whether you should eat meat, whether you should get married, whether the resurrection had already happened. So Paul sent Timothy to teach them about Jesus. Now Timothy was only a young man, and he had to teach men that were much older than him. So Paul encouraged him with these words. And this is your memory verse for the next few weeks. You'll find it in 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. Don't let anyone look down on you because you're young, but set an example for believers in speech, in love, in faith, and in purity. In other words, when you set the example, be careful what you say, show that you believe in Jesus, show what you believe, show them love, and always think good things. In the second letter to Timothy, Paul was in prison and things weren't very good. In fact, he was sure he wouldn't survive, so he asked Timothy to go and see him. And he wanted to say thank you to God for Timothy's grandmother Lois and his mother Eunice, because they taught Timothy as a boy all about Jesus. And Paul tells Timothy that following Jesus isn't easy. It's like being a soldier or an athlete or a farmer. We'll look at those another time. And they give up so much so that they can work for something bigger than themselves. Giving up things is what we need to do when we follow Jesus. It's not always easy. But let's look at the first part of those 2 letters. In his first letter, Paul spends a lot of time talking about church leaders, and how people should behave to each other. But we're going to look at what Paul said about Jesus. Now, I wonder what you think a king looks like. Would a king look like a baby, or a carpenter, or a storyteller, or a miracle worker, or a friend? Who have you heard about that's like that? Paul called Jesus the true king. In chapter 1, he says that Jesus came into the world to save those who do wrong. In other words, those who are sinners. Does that sound like a king? And then he said, now to Jesus the King, who is always the King, who lives forever, who we can't see, but we know he's there, the only true God, be honour and glory forever and ever. In other words, worship Jesus. I wonder, what words would you use to show what Jesus is like as a king? Who taught you about Jesus? Have a think about these things and talk to somebody about what you're thinking. Have a good week, stay safe, be blessed. Bye.